Hello, my cookies. Welcome to Russell Cooks. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I have an amazing recipe. I'm gonna be doing some pork chops. I'm gonna make a really nice kind of sweet and smoky sauce to go with it, and it's just gonna be fantastic. You can serve this with rice, potatoes, whatever you want. The sauce is what makes it. It's all about the sauce. So I'm not gonna be doing too much with the pork chops. Really just gonna be focusing a lot on this really simple sauce. So now that we know what we're doing, let's gather our ingredients. I have some nice bone-in, doesn't matter, pork chops here. They're pretty thick. I went with the bone-in because they were a little thicker. These are about 1.5 inches thick. I have dry brined them. I put a little bit of sugar, not a lot, and a bunch of salt. And I'm just letting them sit at room temp while I make this sauce. So hopefully you can let them brine 30 to 60 minutes. You're going to need some bell peppers. Doesn't really matter the color. You throw a green one in there if you want. This will make it a little bit sweeter with the orange, yellow, and the red. You're gonna need some lemons, need some garlic, need some chicken broth, you need a large onion. This one's the size of a softball. If you don't have a large onion, too small or fine. I got some smoked paprika here. This is optional. I also have some annatto powder. Now, I love annatto here. It's very bright, citrusy. It's also sometimes called achiote, A-C-H-I-O-T-E. This is the stuff they use to color cheese. All the orange cheese out there due to this stuff. Last but not least, we got our salt. Now that we know what we're doing and we got our ingredients, let's get cooking. First things first, I am gonna cut these up and I'm gonna try and caramelize them a little bit. So this is gonna be simple. I'm just gonna slice this thin. So there's 1,000 different ways that you can trim up bell pepper. This is one, cut off the top and bottom, pop out this, and use all that. There's also, this one's a little bit more wasteful. You can come down like this. It's a little bit more wasteful because you lose the bottom and you lose the top. Some people like it because it trims out the white stuff. For the onion, we're going to be doing the same thing. Now, if you've ever watched my stream, I talk about the grain of an onion a lot. For this, it doesn't matter whether or not they hold together. So it doesn't matter how you slice it. I do want to try and get some caramelization on it. So I think I might cut it with the grain so they're a little sturdier. Let's get the root end out here. And then I'm just going to cut same thickness here. Let's head on over to the stove here. I got a pot. It seems small. It's gonna be small at first, but this stuff is gonna cook down. Don't worry about it. 2 tablespoons olive oil, medium heat. Our oil's hot, so let's get our peppers and stuff in. All right, medium heat. You wanna cook this maybe 8 to 10 minutes. You wanna start getting caramelization. You wanna stir it around. All right, I've increased my heat to medium high. I want this to really start going quick. Meanwhile, I'm gonna get the garlic going that we're gonna throw in. I've got 4 massive cloves here. You don't need 4, 3 is fine. And normal sized cloves is also fine. And I just leave them whole. Maybe I'll smash them, but no mincing, don't worry about it. Don't use jarred garlic. No garlic, none of that. Jeez, these are huge. I might just cut this in half. So that's 2, little smashy smash. This one's also mega, so we'll smashy smash this too. Look, we're getting some good caramelization here. That's what I want. Let's keep stirring. No burning. I just dropped my heat down. I got a cast iron pan, so I dropped it down to medium low, maybe medium. You want some caramelization, but you don't want to burn. So we're a couple minutes off of this. All right, I got my garlic cloves in here. I'm getting some caramelization. I am gonna add maybe another tablespoon of olive oil. I just wanna make sure I got enough fat to bloom these spices. Teeny bit of salt in here, not much. I'm gonna maybe do a 1/4 teaspoon kosher salt. Remember, I'm adding broth, which has salt in it, and I'm reducing it down. Don't over season it, we'll season it at the end. Caramelization is kind of sticking to the pot. That's fine. So it's not a lot of it is appearing here. That's okay. We're going to scrape that up when we add our liquid. It's called deglazing. All right, for my smoked paprika, this is pretty potent, so I'm doing a 1/4 teaspoon. You can always add a little bit more later. 1/4 teaspoon. For my annatto powder, this is super bright. It's citrusy. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon. You know what? Let's add some Aleppo. I want some peppery depth here, and we're going to get that with Aleppo. So I'm gonna do 1/2 teaspoon. I can hear the sizzle. I know we're getting some browning. I'm gonna stir this up. Look at that browning on the bottom. 30 seconds. Bloom these spices. We're gonna deglaze now. Deglaze 4 cups. Good quality chicken broth here. Crank that heat. All right, scrape the bottom. Get all that browning up. If there's burnt stuck on the bottom and you don't scrape it up, it's gonna taste burnt. Crank that heat. You wanna reduce this down now. So my sauce, I just need to reduce it down. I'm gonna put it on the back burner and I'm gonna simmer it until it reduces while I do my pork chops. My pork chops, including resting time, are gonna take about 20 minutes. Hopefully that's enough time to get the sauce done. I'm gonna go ahead and heat this oil over high heat. I want it almost smoking here. It's gonna take about 3 minutes. Let's get these pork chops. I'm gonna do these a similar way that I do a steak, but I'm gonna cook these to 135 and hopefully get the carryover cooking to take them up to 140, 145. If you want some good browning, make sure to pat them dry. Now, typically with pork chops, I will take a pair of scissors and I will make 2 cuts so that they don't curve up. I'm hoping the bone prevents that. If it doesn't, I will take my scissors and snip that. If you want to grill these, grill them. Cook these however you want. It's all about the sauce. And people say you shouldn't sear with extra virgin olive oil. I disagree. All right, it's been a couple minutes, so I'm gonna flip these about every 2 minutes till we get to 135-ish, maybe a little higher, depending how long it takes me. You're like, Russell, the browning isn't perfect. They're not done yet. Give it time. Sauce is looking good. We're simmering it down. I'm gonna drop my heat down to medium. I'm still going to flip it about every 2 minutes. Oil was getting a little bit too hot. It doesn't need to be cranked to get a good sear. It's all about flipping every 2 minutes. Gonna rotate my pan because it doesn't heat evenly here. This one that was in the front is now in the back and vice versa. I think one more flip and we should be close. I haven't been paying attention to the clock. Also, these are at room temp, so they should take less time. This should be like an 8 to 12 minute. Look at that browning. Dropping my heat down to medium-low/low. I want to get some browning on this other side. The oil is getting a little bit hot. The browning looks nice. I don't want to burn it. Pork's done. I'm going to take it off and let it rest. You want to let it rest typically 50% of the time that you've cooked it. So if this cooked for 10 minutes, you want to let it rest for 5. So while those rest, I'm going to finish this sauce. So I have 5 to 10 minutes here. Make sure you hold the lid on. No one wants the Vitamix lid popping off because it's hot and steamy and the pressure is increased. It's happened to me. It's very painful to have hot soup burn you. It's still a teeny bit thin. All right, I pureed the sauce. It's not thick enough, so I'm gonna put it back on and reduce it down. I'm gonna have to stir it relatively more often because it's been pureed, but hopefully 10 to 15 minutes. Reduce it by maybe a cup. So let's put this in my pan. Crank it. I'm gonna taste it for salt. I'm gonna season it, salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna finish with a little bit of lemon here, bring out a little bit of brightness, add some nice acidity. It's gonna help cut that fat. Let's taste it. Yeah, I need salt though. Maybe 3/4 teaspoon kosher salt here. I'm gonna do maybe 2 teaspoons of lemon to start. Can always season with more. Let's give it another taste. Use a little bit more lemon. 1, 2 more teaspoons. Put a little thyme. So now we can dig in. Remember, I cooked this to about 135. Let the carryover cooking take it over to 140, kind of 145. If it still looks a little pink, that's okay. You can eat pink pork as long as it has temped out, which mine did. One of them temped around 140 when I pulled it off. Carryover cooking is gonna keep sending it up. So let's go ahead and taste this with the sauce. Fantastic. Those peppers brought a little bit of sweetness as like the base. 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika shines through. It's almost like too dominant. Comes to it's very smoky. With the sweetness from the peppers, a little bit of spice from that Aleppo. And then lemon just cuts the richness. Brightens it up, brings those flavors forward. And to me, that annatto brings kind of like that citrusiness. Look at how saucy this piece is. This is the type of food I love. It's just saucy deliciousness. No Michelin stars today. Thanks everyone for watching. Those were my pork chops with a sweet and smoky annatto sauce. Mwah. I loved it. And if you loved it too, don't forget to check me out on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.